Hello, I'm Lucia Caruso and I'm a composer and pianist.
And I'm Pedro H. da Silva, composer and guitarist.
Let us introduce our newest album that just came out, Echoes of Nature, live from Shakespeare's Church, which was literally recorded 20 years from Shakespeare's tomb. And it is now selected for the first round ballot for the 2025 Grammys.
Best Classical Compendium, Best Engineered Album, Best Classical Contemporary Composition, and Best Choral Performance. The album features 2 symphonic song cycles that we wrote together, Echoes of Nature, based on poems by a Korean poet, Ahe, and 9 Shakespeare songs, based on his many plays.
Some of the songs were composed together jointly, and some of them were individually composed. So one that is very exciting for us and was really an adventure to compose was Double Double Toil and Trouble from Macbeth. So, just to give you an idea how we represent the spookiness, is through the orchestration. So I open this song with a drumstick playing directly on the strings of a grand piano, and that's like a thunder. It's something that I use also in my piano concerto and other piano pieces. I love that effect. And then the harmonies are very spooky in a way and sinister. Then Pedro uses an bow, an electronic bow, in his Portuguese guitar, a sound that is quite unique because the Portuguese guitar is already unique, and adding that bow makes a very eerie and common sound, and you're like, where is this coming from? Alongside with the soprano. And then, to make it even spookier or scarier, is that we use part of the choir singing when underneath there is another part of the choir whispering.
As most people know, Shakespeare famously used iambic pentameter in his plays, but in this famous scene of the 3 witches in Macbeth, he uses trochaic tetrameter, which is in 7. We count 7 every time we have lines in this song, and because of the different prime numbers that he uses in this scene, we made prime numbers the main feature of the song, both in the numbers of the scales, the number of instruments, the number of measures, and the numbers of beats or subdivisions in a measure. We used a lot of 7/8 in this song because the main meter is trochaic tetrameter. However, we used prime numbers everywhere, and I wrote in tiny font on the guitar part so I would never forget this. What are the prime numbers that I use? So I have a total of 13 beats here, then I have a total of 181 beats, 7 times 24 plus 13. So those are all very special numbers. 13 is present quite a bit when we have 7/8 with 6/8.
We made it to sound natural as possible, which means it's not very square. By having all these meters that fluctuate, although the numbers are very well thought, that gives it a little bit of an unstable. When somebody just speaks or says something, it's not somebody who's speaking into counting. So that's the idea of giving it a flow. This is what we will describe as a transclassical composition, incorporating elements from other cultures. In this example, we use Indian scales in a Western orchestral composition.
Besides that scale from North India that Lucia mentioned, we used a lot of other scales, including many limited transposition scales. Octatonic scale, also known as diminished, also a hexatonic one. And we used some custom scales, and none of this is completely familiar. And so we based this otherworldly sonic landscape in these places that go a little bit beyond what is familiar. At a certain point, the music becomes aleatoric, and we ask these very, very beautiful, proper British people to scream in a way that sounded a little bit, I don't know, almost sexual.
Like witches.
Oh, yes.
really hope that you enjoy this composition and album, because we really put a lot of love in this and it was a lot of fun. And we had a great experience working with orchestra and choir of the Swan.
And also with Bruce O'Neill, the music director of the Royal Shakespeare Company, who was invaluable in getting us insight into Shakespeare's world and how to pronounce certain words the correct way. This was the best experience we could have for this composition.